Hey people, if you're watching this on TLOAV, then welcome to yet another Gimp tutorial. Otherwise, if you're watching this in Pokemon Alabaster, this will be the first, I believe. So today I'll be talking about how I sprite using Gimp. Now, a little disclaimer, I'm not a professional or anything by a long stretch, but this will just be talking about little tricks and tips I've figured out using the experience that I have built up over the time that I've been spriting. So, without further ado, I'll be editing this sprite in order to make this right here, who is going to be the 4th gym leader in my game. And I'll be editing Game Freak sprites and using a wheelchair sprite by Ocean's Lugia Spirit. So, the first thing I'll have to do is, in order to edit, the first thing is to make sure that you have the correct resolution. Now, this sprite right here is in doubled resolution, so in order to fix that, I will want to go to I forget right now. Scale layer. I just totally had a brain fart there. And so you want, if it's doubled, then you want to cut that in half, so that'll be 128 by 128, and you'll want to make sure that the interpolation, I think that's how you pronounce that, is none, in order to maintain the integrity of the color of the pixels and the opacity of the pixels. Yeah, see, that's why I'm not thinking straight right now. Let's undo that. And we'll want to scale the image, not layer. I'm sorry about that. 128. It's early also. I don't know why I'm doing a video so early. I'm not thinking straight. But okay, so now, once that is done, you'll want to go to the pencil tool, and it is actually already set in pixel. I think it starts on one of these, and you want to change that to pixel, and then the size will be like 20 or something like that, and you'll want to just click on that and pull it all the way down until it says 1 right here. So that when you do that, you'll see a little square box that follows your cursor. And when it goes over that, the pixels should fit perfectly into this little box. If that doesn't do it, then you didn't scale it correctly, or it's not scaled correctly. So that way you can just edit the pixels nice and cleanly like that. So the first thing I noticed when I first opened this is that it's actually not positioned properly for RMXP game. So I can't use this right here. I'll have to drag this over here. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you have to pay attention, if you try and edit this and the colors are all weird, check up here, and if it says index, you'll have to cut and make a new image and paste it over to the new image, because you'll have the colors are indexed, so you can't edit it to make new colors. So that's how you fix that. You basically cut this over to a new image, and you'll be able to edit colors the way you want to. So like, say if I were to take a color from this one, and if I clicked here and it made like pink or something like that instead of orange, and then you would want to cut and make a new image. So I guess here we'll want to make a new layer. Make use of layers, because if you mess up or something like that, it makes it easier to fix. I guess let's drag this right here. Let's get rid of this white background. So we'll select by color. Will that do it? No, see, because the wheels are also partially white here, so we'll want to undo that, and actually it would have been better if I just started off using the fuzzy select tool except see we have little spaces here we need to select. So click this, which allows you to select multiple things at once, and then you can just select all these different things to cut out so that we can just have the wheelchair and only the wheelchair to copy over to the new portion. Okay, so once you have all your white space selected, you can go ahead and go to colors on top, down to colors to alpha, and you'll see a preview like this. Make sure it's white, I guess, or whatever color the background is, and then go ahead and click OK, and it'll turn all the background from white to basically nothing. So make sure you have everything selected. You can go ahead and do it again if you missed something. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and unselect everything, and you can go ahead and drag or do whatever you want with these wheelchairs. So I'm going to cut, I could edit these first because I'm not going to have the wheelchair look exactly like this. I'm going to edit the wheelchair first, and it may be better if I do that here. Yeah, I'll move them first because I don't know. So this is the front-facing one right here. Oh, I missed a spot. I didn't even see that. So let's go ahead, and I need to remember what the fuzzy select hotkey is as U. Are there any more? There's one right here. And so once again, colors, color to alpha. Okay, and that turns to white space. So now we can just go ahead and copy this. I hope this is the right size. I haven't even checked because the size of this image is off. So I hope it still fits. I guess we'll find out here though. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. Maybe a little small, but I think that's okay. So we can have it go like right there. Oh, am I in the right? Hope I'm on the right layer. Yes, I am. Okay, good. So that's why we made another layer, so that if it wasn't right or something went wrong, then we can easily undo it. If the layer is on top like this, so if the image is on top, you can just click this, or I think you're supposed to be able to drag this down, but sometimes it won't work for me. So if that doesn't work, you can just click this arrow button and it'll go underneath the image, and you can click this eyeball here to edit the visibility of the image, just like that. So, are there any major differences between these sprites? I'm trying to figure out. There are some. The wheels colors change, but aside from that, I don't see anything. So I'll go ahead and copy the same image for all 4 of these. Oh, you know what? I need to change the bottom. Okay, so I'll go ahead and stop this portion and edit that. Okay, so when you're spriting, there's a couple of useful tools that I want to talk about before I continue. It's good to know what all of these selection tools do. So to start off, the lasso, let's anchor that. And the lasso tool, I usually don't use this. There's probably a way to, but I feel like that when you copy it, it messes with the edges. I'm testing that right now, actually. Yeah, see, because look how you can see, like, little portions that have odd opacities. See, that's why I don't like to use the lasso tool. I'm almost certain there's a way to get around that, but I just don't use it because I haven't really had the need to. If you go to this right here, you have the fuzzy select tool, which it's like a selection tool merged with a bucket. Like if you click something of one color, it selects everything within that's touching that is that color. So it's probably my favorite selection tool. They're all useful. And then this one's a color select tool. So you select a color and it selects everything that's that color within the entire image, which is useful under certain circumstances, under a lot of circumstances actually. And then you have the rectangle select tool, which straightforward enough selects a rectangle, and everything within that rectangle is selected and can be copied and pasted around just like that. And the ellipse tool, which I don't use as often, but it's the same thing but with an ellipse. Now you also want to recognize the modes down here. This just replaces the current selection, so whatever you select, that will be the only thing that is selected. If you have anything else selected, then it will undo that selection. This is add to current selection, so if you add another box or selection, it will make that selection in addition to the selection you currently have. So if you want to select multiple things that are kind of separate, then the multiple selection tool is a good way to do that. Like say if you have a fuzzy select tool and you want to select all of her hair, then you'll select this and you'll select that color of her hair. Then you'll want to select the add to current selection, make sure you have that, and then you can click to the other portions of this hair and it will add on to that so that you can have the entirety of the hair selected. That's probably the easiest way to do that. Or another way to do that would be to utilize the subtract from current selection tool. So say if you had a selection like this and you want to have the hair selected, you'd select all of this box, then you'd click the subtract from current selection and it will take away from what you have. So that's also useful for selecting certain portions of your image and copying or whatever you want to do with it. You can do that. And then intersect with current selection. This is also useful. I don't use it as often, but let's see, how would I use this? See, I've used it quite a bit, but I can't think of a scenario right now. But it's basically so that if you have two areas selected like this, if you merge them, only the parts that is merged will be selected. Oh, I don't have the right things. See, if you have two selections, only the parts that are merged will be selected. So you have like a funny shape. So that will only work in conjunction with one of these two. Also, if you're using pixel art, you'll want to use, in order to make images, you want to use the pencil tool and the eraser tool primarily, also the bucket tool. But if you want to use the eraser tool, make sure you go down and make sure this hard edge is selected, because if it isn't, then you'll edit the opacity and you'll get weird stuff like that. And you don't want that if you're doing pixel art. You don't want partial opacities, and you don't want too many colors generally, depending on the style you want to go with. So for Pokemon images, I believe they're usually limited to 16 colors, including black, white, and transparency. I need to double check on that to be honest, but I think that's what it is. So you'll want to limit the number of colors you want to include in your image. Now, RMXP does not have a limit on colors, so it's not absolutely vital for you to hold to that, but stylistically, you'll want to be as close to that as possible. So you'll want, and just in general, it's just nicer, more convenient to be able to delete entire pixels instead of having this weird transparency. And see, when you click on that pixel, you want it to disappear. So I don't know why that's, to be honest, I'm not sure why that's not default, because you already have this brush for partial transparency. So if you have the pixel selected, it should delete the entire pixel, but it doesn't. So make sure you have this hard edge selected. Also, when you're editing images, it's best to see. It's easiest to see if you have a white background. So what I usually do is I make another layer, and using just right-clicking here and going up to new layer, I'll select a new layer, and you can go down here and it will say layer fill type, and you'll want to click white, and that'll make a white image like that. And then you can move it up and down. You'll want it in the bottom of the image. I already have one, so I'll go ahead and delete that, but all other layers you'll want in transparency in all likelihood. So that is that. Now I need to figure out what I want to do next. I want to make sure that's visible, and I guess I'll copy this over, the wheelchair over to these other images like so. Are these level? These aren't level, so make sure you can, when you copy and paste images, down at the bottom you'll see it says move, and then you'll have an X value number and a Y value. So that's a good way to make sure that your images are level when you copy and paste them. But see, with when you make a moving sprite sheet in RMXP, the images bob up and down when they're walking. But since she's going to be in a wheelchair, I don't want that. I believe this goes up too, so I'll go ahead and cut. Oh, actually, see, I need to make sure I'm in the right layer. I'll cut and paste that and make sure that's level. I can actually just compare it like here and drag it over 32, because that is how far apart these images are. And the Y value should be 0 to make sure that they're level. If you're making a walking sprite, then I believe that'll have to be, it'll go between 2 up and 2 down, 2 pixels up and 2 pixels down. So let's go ahead and do that. Now when you cut it, it says cut images to, oh, it's only 1 pixel, sorry about that. But when you first make the image, it says cut images to clipboard for the longest time, and you'll have to wait for that to go away in order for it to show what position the image is being moved to. So now that we have those level, let's go ahead and copy these wheelchairs, and I'm gonna speed up this video from here on because this will be a long video if I don't. So yeah.